seed. Again, all the different individuals, whether it be Presley, Stafford, Locken. It was yesterday Marika Vandermark, the sophomore, who was the difference maker and helped Baylor pull away late in each of the sets against Sacred Heart.
She was. She really stepped up in a big match yesterday to start off this tournament. A ton of size to her, standing at 6'6", but just adding to the offense and the defense. She blocks, she gets her kills, and she brings a lot of energy to the team.
So Baylor, in their last 3 trips to the NCAA tournament, have exited in the second round, each time against a Pac-12 opponent. With that said, the only time they've ever moved on to the field of 16, the regional semifinal, was also by knocking off a Pac-12 opponent. I think, if anything, it just reminds us how many Pac-12 teams each and every year are so phenomenal and are getting into the dance. This year, the Bears meet these women of Troy.
Definitely, when we look at this USC team, we see a program that has experience going to this tournament. 29th consecutive year, 37 years in school history. And just a program that's been here before, knows what it's like to play at this point, and playing a really, really good #1 Baylor seed.
And it's a Trojans program that has used 17 different starting lineups this year due to injuries. And how about an ace to get things started here in round 2 for Bramschreiber? Janelle Bramschreiber, the former high school All-American, now in her sophomore campaign. Rinse and repeat. And USC will get some fingertips at the net as these two teams trade points early on. And Baylor is your #1 national seed, but it's a program that's never even been past the second round except for once. That was 10 years ago, knocking off UCLA in round 2 to punch that ticket. Vandermark into the block, out wide. Vandermark with the kill.
You talk about how widely spread this Baylor offense is. It's extremely hard to set a scouting report against a team with so many weapons. We had Marika Vandermark show up big last night, but if you key on her too much, you're going to leave Yassiana Presley wide open on the outside.
Lanier, plenty of space in that back corner for Kalia. Eclipsed 2,000 career kills yesterday in the sweep against Sam Houston State out of the Southland Conference.
Yeah, Lanier has had 2,000 career kills, which is unbelievable in and of itself, but over 1,000 digs as well, being one of only 2 Trojans to ever accomplish that.
And now an ace for the Trojans, who have taken 3 of the last 4 points. As the serve continues for Jenna Adams, member of this senior class for USC. Back-to-back aces for Adams.
Jenna Adams with a very low, flat float serve, but obviously keying on Yassiana Presley with the hope that if she has to pass the ball, maybe she can't hit it.
Another great serve from Adams. And Baylor uncomfortable. Winds up picking up the violation, now trails by 3. These were the top 2 teams this weekend in Waco. And a violation on the Bears. Oh no, they'll simply overrule the line judge who had it in. So an error on Baylor makes it a 4-point lead for USC.
Vandermark with an extremely high swing on that ball, aiming for the deep, deep corner, and just barely missed.
And for the first time, we call out the name of Yassiana Presley, your player of the year in the Big 12 Conference. Just her junior campaign. This was a moment ago, that ball that was initially ruled in, but as Brea Hunt now with the serve. And a double on USC. Well, we've seen a lot of scares already in the second round over the past couple of days. Of course, just an hour south of us, UCSB against Texas went up 2-1 only to see the Longhorns pull out with the victory in that 5th frame. Free ball here for Baylor. Kara McGee, just a freshman, but very comfortable here on the big stage.
Kara McGee connects extremely well with setter Hannah Locken, only having this one season to play together and really making a statement in her freshman campaign.
Lanier is long. No, they'll say in. Ryan McGuire, if he had a flag, he would have had it up. They'll say in, and Lanier will have the serve. Another look. Ooh.
Kalia Lanier, a name we've heard in the past and will continue to hear, but earlier this season, 40 kills in a match against Utah. I mean, unbelievable statistics, and she hits the ball hard when she does it.
And Presley goes right at her to end the service of Kalia. Yassiana Presley consistently among the top 2 or 3 players in the nation in kills per set and points per set. About 5.5 kills, 6 points. And Brooke Botkin goes at a pair of Bears. Able to capitalize.
Very clear how much Brooke Botkin means to this team. Having her out this season, having USC struggle a little bit without her steady consistency, and having her back for postseason has been huge to Coach Brent Crouch.
Her most recent ailment was an ankle. Finally got back against UCLA, and a service error here will gift the Bears a 7th point. They're back within 1. Well, Kentucky and Purdue have prevailed in their respective brackets at home. Will they be headed to Waco next weekend? Not if the Trojans have something to say about it, but it is a level playing field here in the opening set. As Presley ties it up.
Yassiana Presley, the unanimous Big 12 Player of the Year, is such a weapon, whether she's in the front row or the back row, similar to Kalia Lanier on USC.
And Lanier is dangerous from that back row. Don't sleep on her just because she's no longer at the net.
Absolutely. I think the lineup setup for these two teams tonight goes well, that Yassiana Presley and Kalia Lanier are front row together and back row together, so they can sort of attempt to neutralize one another.
Here's the Spaniard with the serve, your setter, Raquel Lothro. Milana. Little pancake from Brea Hunt. And do they rule? Ultimately, that ball got down. As the point for USC. Nothing definitive there, but a whistle a moment later. Well, Bears had a 1-0 lead when they served for the opening point. Since then, they've been playing catch-up. Another chance to level it here. The serve belonging to Hannah Locken.
Who better to start that catch-up than 5th-year veteran senior Shelly Stafford?
Over the right pin, over the Baylor block. Wolf dives to keep it alive. Back row, Lanier. And nothing that Presley can do with it. Another kill for Kalia.
Lanier and Lothro just have such a good chemistry and connection when she's in that back row, and I think that is what makes Kalia Lanier an All-American player, that she can do it no matter where she is on the court.
That's Hannah Locken working her magic. She's got a lot of talent to choose from. That time went short.
She does. She's smart with her decisions. She was unanimously voted the Big 12 Setter of the Year for the first time ever for a Baylor player. Has a lot of weapons, but manages passes very well.
She went to the most efficient hitter for Baylor that time in Shelly Stafford. Ball off the antenna. Another point for the Trojans here in hostile territory. This was a busy day for Baylor Athletics. Second time this court is being used today. You had a top 20 matchup between Scott Drew's Baylor Bears and Coach Miller's Arizona Wildcats. The minor upset for Baylor in that one. And then, of course, an hour and a half north up in Arlington in overtime in the Big 12 Championship. Oklahoma able to knock off Baylor in a top 10 matchup, likely with college football playoff implications. See if they go back to Kalia. Cross-court shot, angle's a little long.
A little bit long, but definitely the right idea for Khalil Lanier to see that that block was a little bit too close to the line and go for that cross-court shot.
So serve for Stafford, looking for their second lead of the set. Ramschreiber keeps hope alive here on this rally. Lanier into the net. And pardon me, that one does get over, squeezes between the block, and gets down to give USC the 1-point edge. Back to Yassiana. As Kalia again finds some fingertips.
Khalil Lanier is a smart player, and she's an All-American for that reason alone. She does a good job of hitting the ball straight down when she can, but also finding hands and finding when a block is late and exploiting it.
Into the block, but it'll carry one. Trojans are the first to 15. They are taking on the #1 team in the nation. Right now, up by 3 in the opening frame. For a second straight night, the USC Trojans are squaring off a team that's only lost once all season. Well, we know how that ended yesterday for Stephen F. Austin. The second loss would mark the end of 2019. Trojans hoping to put an end to a memorable season for Baylor a bit prematurely as well.
Leading the charge so far on the USC side is Khalil Lanier. She's a returning All-American, 4-time All-Pac-12, and she has 7 kills already on only 9 total attempts. Hitting very efficiently and definitely USC's go-to right now.
Again, find success both at the net where she is now once again, as well as on that back row. Block up front, and that was all Jasmine Gross. Former Pepperdine Wave, last 2 years now, one of the women of Troy. And this year, for the first time, all Pac-12. Presley into the block. One more to get it over. Tight. Nice job keeping it playable, but into the net a moment later. Well, it was 12-12, but right now a 5-point run has some concern for Baylor. They call a timeout here in Waco. First timeout used in this first set by Ryan McGuire. His #1 team in the nation, his #1 national seed, Baylor Bears right now, trailing 17-12, a 5-point run for USC. And as the Trojans hitting .524 here in Waco. Back to Yoss. And that's an absolute must coming out of a timeout. Presley able to respond.
Yassiana Presley averaging 5.52 kills per set. She was the first Baylor player to be voted the unanimous Big 12 Player of the Year. Completely standout season, playing out of her mind all year long, and it's been so fun to watch.
I mean, that is saying something. Unanimous when this is a league that has Micaiah White at Texas, your defending Big 12 Player of the Year from last season, along with quite a few other impressive individuals throughout the Big 12. Brea Hunt continues her service. The senior out of right here in Waco went to nearby Prestonwood Christian. Up the road. And the good times continue.
Brea Hunt, the team captain for Baylor this year, a steady leader and has just made extreme strides in her ability to dig the right back part of the court.
Lloyd able to get the Trojans back on the right track. Lloyd on that kill is like a professional bowler. She turned her back to the point knowing that it was going to be a strike and just started walking back towards the service line. A bit long. So a 5-point lead for Lanier and USC has shrunk to 2. An ace for Presley. Yassiana with a chance to tie it here, but first a timeout for Brent Crouch and USC. Baylor has responded to their head coach. Will the Trojans do the same? It's round 2 in Waco. Junior Yassiana Presley's kind of a big deal around here and around the Big 12. You see some of her numbers that stand out. I'm told that is to scale. But such an impressive individual, even if she never picked up a volleyball. You knew she would leave an impact of some sort here on campus. Lanier, great dig from Hunt. Presley squeezes it through the block.
Yep. Yassiana Presley sees that triple block and just goes for it anyway and powers through.
Baylor could have easily just let this first set slip away when it was 17-12. Milana into the block, drops wide. Baylor with that elusive second lead here in this first set. That'll keep the service of Presley going. Defensive effort there. Baylor can't put away the free ball.
A few more overpasses on this USC side than we're typically used to seeing.
Both these teams with sweeps yesterday made for a quick night. Of course, the Trojans played first, so they were able to sit back and scout Baylor, although the Bears had a little different look last night. Vandermark was the success story, especially late. A short-lived lead for Baylor. A serve from Baptista. Back to Milana. And Brooke Botkin will inch the Trojans a little closer to perhaps taking the first set.
For both teams on the court tonight, blocking is going to be critical to be able to set clean blocks because both sides just have too many big physical hitters.
Yassiana Presley, I think, was still talking to Brea Hunt. And next thing she knew, she had a volleyball coming right at her, able to skirt out of the way. And Wolf is in for an ace.
Aggressive serves by Baylor.
If you're on the receiving end of that one, you just freeze in place when you see her vertical.
And absolutely just hope for the best. And hope your eyes are open, honestly.
I'm not sure if our guys are slowing that down or if that is full speed, but she was hanging up there. The subsequent serve is long.
Just out, but a good watch by USC. I think the way a lot of these serves have been falling, I would almost be inclined to go for that one.
A little gun shy. Botkin now with the serve. We mentioned she's from just south of Houston in Pearland, Texas.
Puts Kalia Lanier back in the front row with 9 kills.
That serve carries over. And it's Baylor the first to 23. Shelly Stafford.
4 for 4, hitting 1,000 from Shelly Stafford. Numbers we are used to seeing from this All-American.
You're saying that's good?
It's average.
Lanier's pretty good in her own right. Presley gets down. One more to get it over for the Trojans. That ball is out. Set point coming up for the #1 seed. They trailed 17-12. Ryan McGuire called a timeout. Baylor battled back, and at the moment in the driver's seat, it is still set point with USC serving. See the block from Stafford. Here's the serve from Reagan LeGrand, the libero. Baylor can put it away. A comeback win in set #1. The Baylor Bears looking to move on. Transferring to Texas.
She's the daughter of Nikki and Dan Bramschreiber. Nikki Bramschreiber, one of the people who started Mad Frog Volleyball Club in Plano.
We begin with USC serve. Botkin. Stafford.
Shelly Stafford is 6 for 6. There is no reason that Baylor shouldn't be feeding her every time.
As a sophomore, she rewrote the Baylor record books for hitting efficiency. Last year, she shattered her own mark, hitting .397. This year, cooled off to just .365 to still lead the Bears. And that efficiency is contagious now. The sophomore, Marika Vandermark, who last night in the post-game press conference talked about how much she benefited from sitting and redshirting her true freshman year. Now a third-year sophomore has been shining bright. And Vandermark comes up with the block along with Kara McGee.
Definitely has come a long way and grown in that year that she was able to develop. And it's everything. It's the way she swings, the way she connects. It's even the way she blocks. She is a weapon on the right side, and it doesn't hurt that she's left-handed.
They'll go away from Lanier this time. The southpaw strikes again. Out of the Netherlands. Was just phenomenal late against Sacred Heart in the first round last night. .5-0 Baylor. Yas with the block. Timeout, Trojans. After claiming the first set, first 5 points for the Baylor Bears, Marika Vandermark. Yassiana Presley with the defense coming up in a moment, but Vandermark swinging on that right pin. Such a natural fit with that left swing, and then Presley with the roof.
3 kills already for Marika Vandermark in this second set out of only 5 points.
And the serve all the while continues with Shelly Stafford. Lanier dials it down. Kara McGee, return to sender.
That alone shows the maturity and wisdom of Kara McGee as a freshman. I think it's easy to get big-eyed when an overpass comes like that, but she smartly picked her spot and got a kill.
That one off the fingertips of Baylor. The prior point, Raquel Lothrow trying to dig that ball, sent it over to McGee, who sent it right where Lothrow was. And first point for the Trojans now. And they put together a run, down by 1 set. Baylor's asking for a touch, they'll get it. And let's see if Brent Crouch goes to that laminated green card. He does. He will challenge the call of a touch. They're saying that got some fingers Jasmine Gross there in the middle. And each coach has 3 challenges through the first 4 sets. If we go to a 5th set, they will get a bonus challenge. If you are not successful, it will cost you a timeout. And much like most of the other sports, there's an overwhelming burden. Must see essentially 100% visual evidence, conclusive evidence, to the contrary to overturn it. It is a Baylor group of 6 seniors, the first senior class to make it to the NCAA tournament all 4 years on campus. Right. And they are going to reverse the call. No touch. A successful challenge for Brent Crouch. Gives USC its 2nd point here in the 2nd set. So the serve here for Reagan LeGrand. The libero out of Nebraska with the service error that time. Former Nebraska High School Player of the Year. Baylor's going to get a little shorter as Vandermark, rather than go to the back row, will rotate off, fire up her teammates, and happily cheer on Brea Hunt, who steps onto the floor all of 8 inches shorter.
We talk about Marika Vandermark's development this year. One thing she's working on is a topspin serve, which is nasty when it goes well, and she's getting extremely consistent with it.
Too hot to handle for Tara Wolf that time, as Gross able to put it away.
Jasmine Gross, extremely athletic and comes by it honestly. Both of her parents are tennis coaches at the University of Portland.
An error from Presley. And the Trojans back within 3. I had a feeling this might start to level out despite the first 6 points going to Baylor. USC's taken 4 of the last 5. How about another dump from Hannah Locken?
Hannah Locken sees the court so well. She is a consistent, steady, 6 rotation, 5-1 setter, and that is why she's a Big 12 setter of the year.
A unanimous Big 12 setter of the year this year. Led the Big 12 in assists per set. Lanier finds Wolf. Alana. Looking for Kalia. Back row from Yoss. She'll get a touch. He's out of the Houston area from Cypress, Texas, where an area that most notably produced the Ogwumike sisters. Great basketball talent, with a little bit of a high school volleyball background. Point for the Trojans, back within 4.
Jasmine Gross more recently adding the slide into her arsenal of swings. But we saw it last night. We're seeing it already today, how well she hits the ball down the line on the slide.
Yeah, only been sliding for about a year and a half, Brent Crouch says. Has taken to it. Tara Wolf and the Bears with the last point. The serve for the libero. Back row from Yoss. Back to Presley.
Not the exact set she wanted, so smart to put that tip over.
Trojans were ready that time for the dump, and they'll come away with the point now, closing within 4. In such a storied program, USC, 1,072 victories already. Obviously a rich history with those 6 national championships. Baylor is just trying to get started with its national accolades.
A huge piece of that has been Shelly Stafford. She came into this Baylor program the same year that Ryan McGuire came in as a coach, and they have just hand in hand taken this program to a new level. She is 7 for 7 right now, hitting 1,000 on the biggest stage of the season so far.
That ball gets down in front of Locken. So the serve for Lothrow, who came into the NCAA tournament with 20 double-doubles. Another look there at Botkin, able to put it away. That one long. Back to Bram Schreiber. Battled injuries a lot of last year. Another ace. Again, 5 of them in the first set for the Bears.
Bram Schreiber keeping the ball low and flat and got lucky on that one.
How dare you? As Botkin takes it down a couple of gears.
We saw Botkin do it a little bit last night. We saw it on that last swing. Having the court vision to be able to see when right behind that outside blocker that there's a hole, in putting that soft hairpin tip right over the block.
And Botkin last year's second team All-American. Marika Vandermark last year, just a freshman. And no recovery for Baylor, as these two teams now trading points midway through. USC's already used one timeout early when it was 5-0 to start for Baylor in this second set after the Bears came back in that first set, 25-23. Oh, nice stab with that left fist by the libero Legrand. Just a reminder, that's Marika Vandermark.
Proving to be absolutely unstoppable in this second set. Just hitting over the block and straight down in front of the 10-foot line.
Presley into the net, and USC will claim that 10th point. Well, despite the slow start in the first set, still arguably better start overall for Baylor tonight than against Shu. Shu certainly put up a fight despite still falling in straight sets. You can say the same for Stephen F. Austin against USC. There was no intimidation factor among the two lower seeds yesterday.
There wasn't. I think in this tournament, every team is good. So every team has done something to deserve to be in it. So the fact that they're coming out punching, I absolutely love it because they're teams that have proven themselves this season.
And for Baylor, while all of this #1 stuff is new, I just don't think they get caught up in it. They approach every match the same way. Presley into the block, access denied up front. Lothrow and Gross combine. Trojans back within 3 here in set number 2. Timeout, Baylor. Baylor took set 1. Right now, a 3-point advantage midway through here in set number 2. Lincoln Rose, Katie Stager with you as the Trojans and Bears fighting for one of the last 16 spots next weekend. The highest seed so far has just gone down in Pittsburgh. We're a team that many debated about whether they should be a #4 seed. Falls to Cincinnati and Jordan Thompson, one of the best players in the nation. And arguably another one of the best players in the nation, putting that one away. Pittsburgh had a chance to turn some heads and unofficially host in the national championship in a couple of weekends. For Baylor, they enjoyed the defense just as much as the O. And a stop up front from McGee, the freshman.
A huge block by Karen McGee and Hannah Locken. The kind of block that leaves you a little bit more nervous to swing hard the next time if you're USC.
McGee with 111 blocks coming into the NCAA tournament this year to lead Baylor. A subsequent service error, though, will make it 17-13 in the serve here for Lloyd.
McGee has the size, has the physicality, but also just has the technique to be such an efficient blocker.
I said Lloyd, pardon me, Lanier. USC is going to use its final timeout here. Again with a 5-point deficit staring at them, but this time much later in this second set. Well, I don't think either of these teams were done any favor when the brackets were announced. And of course, while USC, you see the record, they were 17-13 coming in. But now that they're healthy, not a lot of teams want to be standing on the other side of the net from those women of Troy. And of course, they were sent packing to face the #1 national seed Baylor potentially this week. That has come to fruition here tonight. And you want to talk about some surprises? How about the fact that Sam Erger, 48 hours ago, gave birth to daughter Demi, and she's back on the bench.
They're the #1 seed. They're trying to chase this national championship, and she's also having a baby. Sam Erger is Superwoman, and she is here today sitting on the bench and doing the exact same role she always does with a new addition to the family.
Baby Demi, you are her world, but she wouldn't miss this championship run for the world. The proud mama and dad, James. Congratulations to, again, the growing Baylor family. They have never lost a match since Demi was born.
Hey, that's a good one.
1-0.
Good for Demi. Good for Sam.
Again, Baylor just one loss this year. That was to Texas in Austin. They avenged that loss here in 5 sets later in conference play. Stafford. The Trojans remain composed. Which one of us was panicked when that ball came our way?
It was you.
We'll say
There's
me.
not a
We'll
video
say
camera.
me.
It had to be you.
Everyone here will say me.
Oh, that came quick. What'd you do to make Tara mad?
We'll find out. Stafford.
Shelly Stafford, 8 for 9.
Even picked as the #1 national seed, a lot of folks with their projections aren't necessarily buying into Baylor, and I think until they prove that they can do it, there will be doubt. Right now, against a very good USC team, up a set, but these Trojans are not going to go away. Lothrow. Again, the only USC player who managed to really stay healthy and has played every set this year, and they are obviously better for it with her great consistency. Talk about premature celebration. A single piece of green confetti just fell from the rafters.
Oh, goodness.
That's a couple weeks after the Big 12 championship celebration.
Just a fun reminder for the Baylor girls. It is. We talk about Lothrow and just what a benefit it is when there are injuries to have that consistency as in your setter position.
Stafford puts that one away. Baylor is trying to join Stanford as the only 2 athletic departments to win both the women's basketball and volleyball national championships in the same calendar year. Another look at the put away from the former Shelly Fanning, now Shelly Stafford. It was some of the women's basketball confetti that really inspired certain members of this volleyball program. They kept some of it as some motivation to have confetti of their own. They launched that green and gold confetti after they secured the Big 12 regular season, a share of it with Texas. From the back row, Lanier. And Vandermark has helped Baylor grow this from a hill to a mountain for the Trojans to overcome.
Marika Vandermark with 6 kills all in this set, in kills that are making a statement. They are hard in trying to drill a hole through the ground.
And even the little things going the way of Baylor. And adjusting for the block, the freshman Mimi Veska. And she'll swing long on that one. Otherwise, what a great freshman year it's been for Amelia. Mentioned yesterday how she's playing a year earlier than she expected. They really needed her. She's been a big cog. A service error from Baylor.
She has. A lot of teams have trouble filling that right side position with someone who is not only consistent, but it makes a statement. And I think Amelia Veska is a perfect example of that she shows up every game, but she's consistent as well.
Not a single Bear was on that back row. As the Trojans now stringing some points together, down by 6. So obviously the Trojans watched Vandermark yesterday, but they still had to respect names like Presley, Stafford, and all the rest. Milana, they thought perhaps surely it wouldn't be Vandermark for 2 straight nights. An ace. Back over.
Vandermark with the dig.
Lanier. No touch, simply an error. And the first point for the Bears. Down the middle to Botkin. Presley, just hold your breath when you see that ball sent her way. Line drive, it scraped off the tape. And now they are going to award the point to USC. Kalia. And a souvenir ball after she's done with it.
Aaliyah Lanier sees the block and hits right through the middle of the right side blocker.
Hitting just under 300.
Marika Vandermark, on the other hand, hitting 600 with 7 kills on just 10 attempts.
A serve here for Stafford for a second time in her career, first team all Big 12. Presley just gets it over. Walk up front from Vandermark, or pardon me, from McGee. As the Trojans able to tool the block. Must win third set. With that said, Baylor will do everything they can to close it out here and not allow the Trojans to essentially keep that hope alive. Once they gain confidence into a fourth frame, it's essentially anybody's match. It's just not fair.
It really isn't.
You've got the 6-6 opposite.
Yeah, tough to block, and she's 6'6", so she has size to her, and this is that top spin serve we're talking about, and it's a weapon as well.
She stays in on the back row to serve this time, and you see why.
Immediately forcing an overpass and a kill by Kara McGee. Marika Vandermark is taking her game to even another level.
Baylor inches back ahead 4-3. That one long. The highs for Marika are pretty high, and the lows, well, they're still also pretty high.
Pretty high, yeah. Very steady. Hard to ruin Marika Vandermark's day.
See if Lanier can get a run going here. Oh. Jasmine Gross thought she could surprise Baylor. It's going to end in a lift call after the Bears were ready at the net. Can't falter, but Baylor paying attention. And for Presley, again, she'll keep her feet anchored with that ace.
Yasiana Presley scoots about as far back as she can without sitting on the table over there, but makes it where it just gives more time that the passer can see the ball and the ball can shake a little bit more, and it's very effective for her.
If Kim Mulkey was her head coach, she'd be running an inbounds play from there. Bears are up by 3, already leading 2-0. Trojans call a timeout. Baylor on a 3-0 scoring run here in a potential closeout third set. Under Ryan McGuire in Waco, the Baylor Bears, when they win the first 2 sets, they are 73-0. This is not a team that allows 5-set comebacks.
Yeah, haven't gone to 5 sets many times this season. They've had a ton of sweeps, which is a lot of the reason they're #1. But you're right. They are very consistent and don't let it get to that 5-set mark very often.
Kalia Lanier would like the Trojans to be the exception to that number. Yeah, she drills one off Wolf. Setting up the serve for Emily Baptista.
Kalia Lanier proving to be the heart and soul of this USC team. Just an extremely decorated player that doesn't want her season to end in this set.
A block up front, including Madison Horan, the freshman. Oh, this is not a Trojans team you're going to want to face next year with all these experienced then rising sophomores. Each night, 4 to 5 freshmen. Significant roles for USC. Brea Hunt just survives to see that one. Eventually sent back over. And Botkin prevails. Jessup Jr. mentioned returning to her home state, a few hours away from Houston.
Botkin, an extremely highly decorated player, among other things. She was her high school homecoming queen at Pearland High School.
You know when you say you have a teammate who pushes you, Brea Hunt literally had Yassiana push her on that ball sent back over to USC. And of course it's capped off with the defense up front from McGee. McGee's freshman experience probably a lot different than many of those for USC. It was never up to her to carry the team. She had teammates such as number 22.
We talk about what a historic year this has been for Baylor, but for these freshmen at Baylor, this is all they know. And so in terms of developing a culture for a program moving forward, this is a team that is going to have leaders with experience just as those girls grow up.
Brea Hunt couldn't get to it, and that's a good thing. That ball ruled out. Yeah, mind you, Baylor has beaten every single team on its schedule. They faced 12 teams who made it into the NCAA tournament, and they beat all of them. Of course, the exception is they split with Texas. So 12-1 against this year's tournament field, 6-1 against top 25 teams, including going to Wisconsin to open the season and knock off what is now a top 4 seed.
Yeah, talking about experience playing on a big stage in Wisconsin volleyball fan bases is a big stage that I think that game will really prepare Baylor to continue this tournament.
They got a block from Horn, but the next time around it's a touch off USC that'll cost them. Lanier keeps her teammates composed. But the Bears go right back to that left side. Serve from the junior setter out of Des Moines in Lockin, who gets down for that one. Alana. Right down the middle. Oh, able to keep it going, Botkin, but a moment later the point will drop. Brooke Botkin unwilling to give up on that ball. Able to get the second touch on things.
A lot of fearlessness and heart from Brooke Botkin on that play.
4-point lead for the Bears. The serve continues for Lockin. Presley finds Lanier. As quick as that whistle was for the double, we have quite a few knowledgeable fans surrounding us. Screamed it out a split second quicker. Trojans with their season on the line, down by 2 sets. Call a timeout here in Waco. Ryan McGuire in his 5th year trying to get past the second round for the first time in his tenure. It'd be just the second time ever for a Baylor program. They did it again 2009, a decade ago, against UCLA on the road. All of this to move on to the field of 16, the regional semifinals. And by virtue of being the #1 national seed, if Baylor survives, they will host again next weekend.
Big block by Shelly Stafford, doing everything on the court tonight. She is hitting efficiently. She is shutting down middles, having an all-out night for Shelly Stafford, the fifth-year senior.
Mimi Veska. Imagine most of our audience was tuned in last night, but again, Mimi, with all those injuries for USC, when she was chatting with Coach Crouch, she was a late spring recruit, and he says, I need you to take the SATs this weekend. Instead of holding off till 2020, how about suiting up in 2019? And here she is, helping them get back to the NCAA tournament. But obviously dealt a tough path as Gia Milano with her most recent kill.
Definitely a tough path dealt to this USC team, but also to Baylor. I mean, to have to face a team like USC so early in this tournament when you're the #1 seed.
Lanier looking for her 14th kill. And Vandermark fires it right at the block and prevails. Went right at Madison Horn, who had really grown this year as a blocker. Member of the U.S. Junior National Team. And no recovery there for Baylor. Trojans need a run. They've already used both of their timeouts. They used each of them before that 15-point mark for Baylor.
This is where you count on seniors like Kalia Lanier, who have been here before, to lead the team.
Shelly Stafford, like having another coach out there, a coach with a right arm.
Yeah, playing out of her mind tonight. That makes 12 kills for Shelly Stafford.
The only Baylor Bear to be all Big 12 4 times in her career. From the right side, and able to win that battle against the block again, Mimi Veska. Not her first time in the States, her dad is a professor over on the West Coast at UC Davis. Was happy to return to the Golden State to become a Trojan, native of Germany. Adams had a nice run from the service line back in that first set. But it will be cut short here.
Shelly Stafford and Marika Vandermark both hitting .714 right now. They have 11 kills on 14 attempts each.
Due to popular demand, here is more Marika Vandermark. Back to serve once again.
Second round of the NCAA tournament, just doing a little jig behind the service line. She is talented and she is fun.
I would get it if they recorded this at the start of the season and were playing it on the video board to the music.
Sure.
But she is performing live.
She truly does it all.
Up by 7.
Lot of heat from Marika Vandermark.
That was against an All-American. As a moment later, put away by a likely All-American.
Baylor playing like the co-Big 12 champ and the #1 seed that they are in this third set.
This time a free ball for the Trojans. They go with the dump there from Lothrow. That ball is long. USC with the point. Nice communication for USC. Again, Kalia, 14 kills. And her service will continue. Will this be the run that the Trojans need here in this third set to keep Baylor from closing it out? Botkin.
Jenna Adams just puts her hands in front of her face and stops it.
Ramschreiber kept it alive. What a rally here in Waco. Presley is next. Down the line, what an effort from Lanier. Yas, third time a charm.
Both teams very much involved, very much invested, giving their all in this NCAA tournament second round.
It's just worth 1 point, I'm told. What a back and forth.
I'm tired just watching, honestly, Lincoln.
Presley now with the serve. From the right pin. That ball is ruled in, and it is point confirmed for USC. Remember, Lanier, part of this senior class, each time they suit up here in the NCAA tournament, that ball absolutely in. Never knowing if it's your last match as a Trojan or a Bear. The only way you'll know is if you get to play in that final match in Pittsburgh. Win or lose. Now USC back within 5. Presley. And an error from the Big 12 Player of the Year.
Just out of bounds, but so much spice and so much hang time on that back row attack from Presley.
She's probably not going to dwell on it. And an ace for the Trojans. Timeout, Baylor. USC refusing to go away. The 6-time national champions looking to add another successful chapter here in the postseason. It was Baylor up in a closeout third set, 20-13, but a 4-0 run for the Trojans prompts the timeout for Ryan McGuire. Mind you, the Trojans used both of their timeouts in this third set very early. They cannot stop play. But why would they want to right now? They are clicking in this comeback effort until now. The service error from Batista.
Shelly Stafford been on an upward trajectory her entire career, but truly peaking when it matters most. She has 11 kills on just 14 attempts tonight. She is a fifth-year senior, returning All-American, playing the best volleyball she possibly can on the biggest stage this year.
And Tara Wolf, one of the 6 seniors, wearing the libero top this year. Botkin. One of the juniors not willing to say goodbye to her senior teammates just yet.
Botkin, one of few outside hitters that has that 4-4 cross-court shot in her arsenal. Close to impossible to dig for just about anybody.
That's her 11th kill. Presley off the back row. Baylor is 3 points away from moving on to the regional semifinals for just the second time in program history. Of course, they are back within 3. Can't afford to simply trade points here. And the service will continue for Botkin. And this is when Ryan McGuire decides to use his second and final timeout of the third set. 25-23, 25-17. The first 2 went to Baylor. Of course, it was a comeback effort in that first set. A runaway in the second set late. USC, year in, year out in the postseason, 29 straight NCAA tournaments for the Trojans. The Bears are looking to begin a run like that.
2 teams here with senior classes that have made a huge impact, and neither team wanting their season to end here. when we get to this point in the NCAA tournament, it is anybody's game. Anyone can win. Everyone deserves to be here because of the seasons they've had. And this is high-level volleyball, and that's why it's 22-20 in this third set.
This is why you want to be the #1 national seed, a little something called home court advantage.
Trombones and all.
They were filling the Farrell Center with music and energy earlier today when Arizona came to town. Scott Drew's Baylor Bears basketball team with a mild upset in a top 20 battle. Bears had no interest in an upset here tonight. Vandermark into the block. Back to Marika, off some fingertips, 23-20. Graham Schreiber with a couple of aces tonight. 2 of the 8 aces for Baylor. At the Trojans back within 2. And this is very doable for USC.
Amelia Vesca also proving that sometimes it pays to play smarter instead of harder and put in that smart tip.
The senior LeGrand with the serve. It is set point, and that means match point for Baylor. A violation on the Bears on the double hit. It will remain match point. No room for error, including here on the serve for Jenna Adams in USC. Vandermark. It's not win or go home, it's win and stay home. But before the celebration, Brent Crouch figures, why not challenge that call? Ticket in just their second ever regional semifinals.